engagement in policies and programs that enable them to lead and thrive. Mr. Joshua has a master's in sustainable development from the University of Bradford, courtesy of the Chevening Scholarship Awards. Over the last 6 years, Mr. Joshua has invested in youth leadership and activism to improve access to education and decent work opportunities for young Nigerians and underrepresented groups. His work focuses on cultural authenticity and youth leadership for sustainable development. Mr. Joshua was awarded the 2022 Young Pace Setter for Africa Development on Africa Day at the United Nations. With great joy in our hearts, we welcome Mr. Joshua Alade to take us through the youth advantage, empowering young people to be drivers of sustainable development.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Emmanuel, and thank you everyone for joining this call. I'm excited to be here, and great work that you've done. I learned that this is actually a program to show that you had passed through the SDSN 1-year cohort, right, Emmanuel? So is this like a capstone project, is it?
Yes, it is.
All right, awesome. Well done, and thank you so much for the work that you have done over the last 1 year. And I'm starting my speech first acknowledging what you all have done for 1 year. Learning is not something that is easy. A lot of people do not want to learn because they think that they know so much. So you going through a learning program for a year and also being able to showcase what you have done by having this capstone project speaks to how much you want to grow as a leader. And across the world, young people have been leading change. Sometimes their voices have not been heard. Many often times they've been relegated to the background, and in very little cases, you would find out that there are organizations or there are countries whereby the voices of youth actually count. Over the last 6 years, my work has evolved around creating platforms and opportunities for young people in Nigeria to be able to lead positive change. And I believe so much in the potential of youth to lead change. And throughout my life, this has been practical in my work in civil society. In 2020, when COVID happened and a lot of people lost their jobs, a lot of I'm sure you would always remember. I don't always like to talk about COVID because it was that period was really very difficult for every one of us. And when this happened, one of the first things I lost my job at that point in March 2020. And I was asking myself that for me to have lost my job, there are a lot of other people who are like me, even though the job was really okay and had saved up a lot. Well, I still felt like a monthly income was really very important. And I was expecting that the Nigerian government was going to support me some way, somehow. I've seen my friends in the US, in the UK, in different parts of the world, saying how their government was helping them with palliatives. Some were having money credited into their accounts, and none of this happened to me. And I thought about it. I asked myself, I said, what do I need to do? I met a few young people too who had lost their jobs too, and they didn't have anything to do, no support from government. And I started asking, in this particular point, what would you have loved your government to do for you? How would you want the government to support you? And people started sharing, I want government to think about providing me with opportunity to be able to learn digital skills. I would love my government to be able to even ask me for my bank account, to ask about my welfare and how they can support me. And through all of these questions and answer, I was able to lead a movement of young people who went around we were writing, we had surveys, we were hosting programs across different states of Nigeria called Youth Labs, just asking youth organizations, what does decent work mean to you? And how do you want the Nigerian government to support you? And we had about 212,000 young people across Nigeria who filled our survey, saying what decent work means to them, the kind of work that they would want, and how they want policymakers in Nigeria to support them. And that was not just all. We were able to bring together 850 youth organizations across the 36 states of Nigeria, 30 youth organizations per state, where we had youth labs in different states with young people sharing their observation with how Nigeria was treating them and how they would want a better improved welfare for young people when it comes to livelihoods. And the findings from the survey, the recommendations from these youth labs were things that we put together and we sent it to the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports, Mr. Sunday Dare and everyone in the ministry. Just sharing, this is how young Nigerians would want you to support their decent work aspirations. And with that, fast forward to September 2021, the Nigerian government created something called the Revitalize the Nigerian Youth Employment Action Plan, which is a policy document that captures how Nigeria is going to support young people when it comes to education, employment, livelihoods, and also rights, entrepreneurship too. And before the campaign that I worked on alongside 72 other young people across Nigeria, never in the history of Nigeria had we had this nationwide campaign around decent work, around Nigeria supporting the livelihoods of our young people, and also creating a roadmap that would help that happen. So this short story I've shared it just shows you the power of young people. If young people do not come together, it will be very difficult for us to make change happen. Yes, I was the only one. I lost my job, but I was not the only one who had lost job during COVID-19. So I was able to connect into the power of other people who had lost jobs, people who had different experiences. Some of them were teachers, some of them were farmers, people who could not go to their farm because of Boko Haram. Some people could not teach anymore because nobody was coming to school and the teachers needed to be paid. Some people were artisans. They couldn't go out because, hey, nobody needs a carpenter anymore. We are all on lockdown. So, but sharing into every one of us, diving into our collective experiences with our own different background, we're able to take a stand and force the Nigerian government to think about the Nigerian Youth Employment Action Plan. And with that plan, the Nigerian government said that they were going to provide 3.7 million jobs every year for young people in Nigeria who have been affected by COVID-19. And then you can see it play out in the Nigerian Jubilee Fellows Program, which was launched by UNDP, supported by the European Union, to create 20,000 jobs for young people. And every one of these collective actions stemmed up from what we had done with the Nigerian Youth Employment Action Plan. So for us as young people, we need to understand that you are powerful alone, but you are more powerful when you are together. We cannot make change happen if it's just one person trying to lead the struggle. We all have to come together and tap into our own collective power. And there are a lot of organizations who are doing fantastic work across Nigeria when it comes to the environment, when it comes to social justice, when it comes to education, when it comes to employment. But we need to understand the essence of collective power. And I keep saying it for every one of us as young people that power is not something that you are going to get by just folding your hand. You need to demand for it. You need to organize. You need to come together. We need to understand that the issues that are facing our nation, the issues that are affecting our our future, they are urgent, and we need to take drastic actions. If there's no power, it will be very difficult for us to be able to create employment. If there's insecurity in the land, it will be very difficult for people to move around. And if people cannot move around, it will be very difficult for them to be able to think about ways of integration, of learning about other culture. And these are areas where, as young people, we need to start asking ourselves questions. What would happen when the floods come again? What would happen when Cameroon opens up their dams again, sometimes in November? Would we still be having the same kind of effects in the Niger Delta, where people's houses were taken over by water? In what ways are we standing up to government, especially at this point in time when the rains have not come, asking them, what are the measures that you are putting in place to ensure that we will not have floodings in November, we will not have flooding in September? And this is where we as young people, we need to start using our voice. I understand that for most of us, we are actually looking for ways to get better as a person. But the best way that we can get better is if we all can work together. There's this saying that I always tell people that I work with. I said, if you want to go far, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you really want to go fast, you need to go with other people. You need to ask yourself, what are other young people who have similar passions like I do and are willing to create change in the community? How can we work together? We all have unique strengths. We all have different energy. We all have different connections. We have people that we know that somebody else does not know. But when we can all come together, we can use that same platform, that collective energy, the collective passion for us to be able to lead change in our community. And it's also very important that we know that as young people, we can create innovations. We can create innovations. Is it issues in education? And we keep asking ourselves, what can we do to make education better in Nigeria? One time I was on LinkedIn and I was reading about a young person saying that there's a need for us to educate communities about their rights. And the first thing that came to my mind was, how can you educate somebody about their rights if these people are not even educated to know that they even have rights? And this is where we come in as young people, going to our different communities, letting people know that they have rights. When it comes to the electioneering process, making them know that without we as citizens, the politicians are nothing. The politicians are not doing us a favor by building roads. The politicians are not doing us a favor by providing electricity. That's what they are supposed to be doing. That's their job. And I know sometimes Yorubas will say, toba shenko, kilamashe. It's their jobs and we need to put them on their toes. As young people, we cannot create change if we are not working together. We need to start asking ourselves in policies, what are the Nigerian policies that favor young people? Where are the policy gaps that things that needs to be put in place for action that will help young people to lead better lives? We need to start asking ourselves, how can we hold our local government chairmen accountable? How can we hold our senators, people in the House of Representatives that are representing our communities, how can we hold them accountable as young people? And you're not doing this because you want to have, you want people to know you. No, you're doing this because you want your community to be better. What kind of innovations can we create? When it comes to agriculture, what kind of innovations can we create when it comes to ensuring that even women that cannot read or write are able to understand how to use their bank accounts, how to use USSD, the USSD codes on their phone? What can you do as a young person? How can we make it better for people in the rural area to be able to tap into the power of technology? How can we ensure that our communities are growing and are fostering? And this is things that we can do when we come together as young people. We need to start developing fresh perspectives when it comes to life, when it comes to when it comes to development as a whole in Nigeria. We need to start asking ourselves, how can we as young people make our voice count? And we can see it in different parts of the world where young people are standing up to their government. And we are not doing this, because we want to show that we are headstrong. No, we are doing it because we want a better Nigeria. We are doing this because we want a Nigeria whereby everyone can aspire, can dream, and become. And as young people, we're in a better position to know the importance of a dream. We're in better position to know what would happen when your dreams come to pass. Now, within every one of us in this space, our dreams are connected, our dreams are linked. And if we do not get to work together, it will be very difficult for those dreams to happen. I know that we want Nigeria to be a better place. I know that we want our own lives, our own family to be better. And whatever your dreams are, they are contained in the Sustainable Development Goals. You want better healthcare? They are in the SDGs. But if we do not start asking our government, if we don't start asking our local government chairman, what are you doing when it comes to healthcare? If we don't start asking our state government, people in the House of Rep, how are you creating jobs for young people? How can we work together to create jobs for young people? It will be very difficult for our collective dreams to happen. Countries that are moving forward are not countries whereby there's only one powerful person. No, they are countries whereby everybody is working together. And as young people, we have a role to play in ensuring that Nigeria works for every one of us. As change agents, as community builders, we need to start asking ourselves really important questions. What can I do? What can we do to create a Nigeria that is sustainable? Meaning a Nigeria that my own needs are met, a Nigeria that without jeopardizing the needs of future generation from being met. What do I need to do? How can I make it happen? And when we start having these thoughts, you start discovering that step by step, you're actually making plans to creating a Nigeria that is better. And across the world, we've seen movements that have risen up. In the Arab Springs, for instance, where somebody just set himself on fire because the price of bread went up by 100%. A young person. Now, I'm not saying that we need to set ourselves on fire, but asking questions is a way of putting fire under the bomb of our political leaders, asking them questions. What are you doing? How are you making change? How are you making things better for people? But one thing is important. We can't do this alone. We all need to start working together. We need to go beyond this space where we are in and start asking questions with respect to education. What can we do to make education better? What kind of campaign can we lead that would help change the educational curriculum in Nigeria? We need to start asking ourselves that question. The next thing we need to start doing is asking, how can we make jobs that are more inclusive? How can we ensure that our banks are better serving the people? When you start asking every one of these questions, you start seeing that leaders will start sitting up. And the last thing I want to leave this space with is for us to understand the importance of collaboration and partnership. You can't make change happen alone as a young person. We all need to come together, put our hands together, identify a certain issue in the community, identify a certain issue in your state, and start asking questions. Start asking decision makers questions. Why is it that our schools are closed? Why are teachers not being paid well? Why are farmers not having access to the right subsidies, to the right inputs that would make their agricultural inputs better? Why do we not have seeds that are that are drought resistant? How can we improve the agricultural value chain in Nigeria? When we start asking every one of these questions, start bringing stakeholders together, I assure you that they are going to listen to you. So in conclusion, everyone, I want you to know that as a young person, you are powerful, really powerful. And when you come together, we are a force that people would listen to. And people in government do not want you to discover your power. They know that when you realize how powerful you are going to demand for concrete change. We saw it with NSAS. NSAS was the highlight of young Nigerians understanding how powerful they are. But in understanding how powerful you are, the next thing you need to understand is what way can I collaborate across divide? Many young people, we don't know how to collaborate across divide. And when I say collaborate across divide, it's also understanding that government is not your enemy. Government is there to work with you. How can I work with government? How can I speak truth to power? How can I work with them? If you remember with NSAS, they were inviting the leaders to come for dialogue, but there weren't people that were owning up. In terms of leadership, when you want to take power, we need to understand how to speak. We need people who will be able to speak and speak with one voice. The third thing I want us to understand is that when we are leading change, when we are learning to collaborate across divide, you must not leave your audience behind. That is the people you are working with. You need them to understand what you are doing and why you are doing it. NSAS was beyond police brutality. It was also about creating jobs for young people. It was also about ending the Japa wave. Many people did not understand. And that was why it was easy for a lot of bad elements to creep into the campaign. So guys, again, one, understand that you are powerful. And that because I am powerful alone, coming together, I am a force. Coming together with other young persons, I am a force. The next thing is you need to learn how to collaborate across divide. Collaborating across divide means you doing a lot of research, you understanding how to speak better, you understanding the issues that are facing young people and being able to table it to decision makers. And the last part is ensuring that you are continually carrying your audience along, making them know at every step, this is what we are doing. This is the reason why. And in so doing, you are going to discover that you are going to have a successful campaign. You don't want to have a campaign whereby people are saying, we don't know what they are doing. We don't know if they have collected money, but you are communicating, you are letting them know this is where we are. This is why we are doing what we are doing. And with that, guys, I believe that as young people, we can be able to have a better country. So I want to urge us, as we go through this program, to believe in the beauty of the future of Nigeria. And that belief should stem out of your own personal passion, of our own collective resolve to make Nigeria a better place. That collective resolve for you as an individual to be better, knowing fully well that every other person on this space wants to be better. And if we all can come with our lights, with our small candles, coming together as one, we are going to shine a light that will not just illuminate us as individuals, but would also help Nigeria to be better alongside with the Sustainable Development Goals. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir, for that insightful perspective and for all the points that you have dropped for us. They are really, really worthy to note that as young people, we are in a better position to know the importance of our dreams, and we can create change if we cannot create a change if we are not working together. Thank you so much, sir. Really appreciate that session. And we now want to go to the question and answer, because I know some of us here are going to be having questions for you. But before we do that, I would like us to please write our names in this chat box. I want us to write our names, the country we are attending this meeting from, and the SDGs that we advocate for. I would like us to do that in the chat box. Even as if you have questions, please signify. Because we cannot be in this meeting and not have questions for the Executive Director of the Nigerian Youth Sustainable Development Groups. Okay, so they're expecting to see our responses in the chat box. If you have questions, please do well to signify. This is time for questions and answer. Thank you so much, Mr. Sunday Akinrele from Nigeria. Please, I'm waiting our responses in the chat box. Please do well to write your name, this country you are attending the meeting from, and the SDGs that you advocate for. Okay, I see that somebody has raised, and please, you can go on to speak.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sunday, for making us see the role of the youth and how powerful the youth are. I really want to ask, because I know you work closely with the federal and state parastatals. I want to ask, for us to make change now when it comes to SDG, how much funding is available from the government? How much money is available from the government, and how can we as youths do things? Now we say money is all. Can we do things without spending so much? How can we move this sustainable development? How do we how would I put it? How do we collaborate with other people? That would I want to ask. How have you been able to do it? What are the challenges you faced, and what are the recommendations you have for young people like us? I don't know if Mr. Sonny got my question.
Yes, I heard your question. It's actually Joshua. So the first, please, who was the person who asked that question?
Emmanuel, sir.
Emmanuel, yeah. Okay, great. The first thing you need to understand is, I work with different government parastatals, but it didn't just start from having that opportunity. It had to do with me first knowing how to communicate across divide. So I had to find a way to know or reach out to people in government, in states, in the federal level. So it's about building relationships. So if you want to be a change maker, the first thing you need to understand is the importance of relationship building in the change process. So you have to deliberately build relationship. So sometimes I go for events and I meet people and I reach out to them, just saying, oh, hi, my name is Joshua, this is what I do, and how can I be of help to you? So usually when I go, I don't tell them they are my problem. I always ask them their own problem. Oh, I heard when you were speaking, you said XYZ. Can I help you? I have experience in this area. I can be of help to you. So that's the first step So going out to meet people, going out for events. I used to go to a lot of events just because I wanted to meet people. And in doing that, in the back, I've already done my homework. I know I'm good at speaking. Can you hear me?
Better.
Okay.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
All right, great. So that's the first step. I need to understand how to be able to collaborate across divide. Networking is really very important. And then another thing is the second part is knowing that even government does not have the answer. So that's where your own homework comes into play. So when somebody says, oh, this is our problem, and then you're like, okay, no, how can I help you? Know that they too they don't know the answer. They don't have an answer. So you also have to be able to let them know how you can help them. And then the third thing is that you need to continue to pressure them. You must not relax. Don't relax. I remember when I started the Nigerian SDGs network in 2017, just starting, it was difficult. I had to use my own money to fund the organization. It was first an unregistered group for like 3 years. And it was difficult. In fact, we had an event in 2019. That was the turning point was in 2019 when we had an event across 21 states for International Youth Day, and we used zero budget. We did not spend any money from our own end. We got partnerships, and it was from there we had people from government reaching out. Oh, we want to host the International Youth Day in our states. Come and help us. So, and it was from here that I would say the kind of breakthrough started coming. So we started hosting events for people, for the UN in Nigeria, for different organizations. They call us to host events for them. And this happened because of a lot of persistence, perseverance, collaborations, networking, reaching out to people. Now, since 2020 until now, we've been hosting International Youth Day that has been sponsored by Oxfam in Nigeria. And this also happened because of what? Of collaboration. It's not easy if you do not know how to network, if you do not know how to build relationship. And building relationship is not, oh, I've gotten someone's number. I'm now going to I think that this is the person that has all the solutions to my problem. No. I was asking them, what can we do to help you? We've seen that you've done this in XYZ way. How can we help you to do it better? So you need to understand what the problem is for those people and have the solution. And before you know it, they will start reaching out to you. So when it comes to government, it's the same way. When we worked on the Nigerian Youth Employment Action Plan, the first thing we told them was, if we are going to scale this employment action plan to the different states in Nigeria, in the community, a young person has to be there. So they had 5 committees, and 1 space was given to young persons. And this is something that we're able to do because we've been speaking with them, we've been partnering with them we've been collaborating with them, reaching out to them, seeing the ways to help them. Sometimes I will do a research and share with them that this is something I researched on. Do you think is useful for your ministry? So in so doing, you are going to discover that government will come to you because you are a solution provider. Don't be the one that would always be going to them for money. They even if they have money, they will not give you. I have this common saying I use every time. If you reach out to people for advice, they will give you money. If you reach out to them for money, they will give you advice. So learn how to do that. When you need money, ask for advice. Oh, I'm trying to do this. How do you think I can make it happen? They will tell you, this is what you need to do. If you need money, I think we have so budget that would help you. But if you go to them and say, I'm looking for money, I want to do this, they'll say, if you need money, look out for other young people that are doing the same thing and collaborate with them. So I hope I'll be able to answer your question.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You've been able. Thank you, sir. Mr. Yoban, over to you. I think we have a question.
Right, thank you very much, sir, for that response. If you ask them for advice, they will give you money. If you ask them for money, they will give you advice. Thank you very much, sir, for that. And I'm seeing our responsibility. If you are just joining this meeting, please do well to introduce yourself by telling us your name your country you are joining from, and the SDGs you advocate for. Okay, I can see a couple of people here. I say welcome to each and every one of us. Mr. Joshua, we have another question in the chat box from um, Justin Bruno. He says, how can effective collaboration and partnership be maximized or improved to maximize impact to achieve SDG in today's interconnected world? Should I come over the question again?
So collaboration and partnership is about solving problems. So if you are solving problems together, that's the best way to maximize it. And I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example of what we are doing with Oxfam in Nigeria. Oxfam in Nigeria always wants to celebrate young people. Nigerian SDGs, we always want to celebrate young people. So in celebrating young people, we always have different ideas on how to go about it. They don't have probably ideas on how to go about it, but they need an organization that has that driven passion for young people. And that's how we come in. And working together, we are able to celebrate youths that are working on the SDGs. In 2020, we worked together. We had this idea whereby we give our funding to 3 young people who are working in the technology space to be able to grow their startup. In 2021, we gave out funding to organizations in the agricultural value chain. Last year, we started celebrating 10 young people that are localizing the SDGs in their community. We are still going to do the same thing this year. So for collaboration and partnership to be effective, it has to be problem solving. You both have to want the same thing, desire the same thing. And it's not a case of one person is bigger than the other. No, we all have to have the same mission, the same drive, the same endpoint. So if you can have that in perspective, having the same mission, the same goal, you have the same drive, you both want the same thing, then collaboration and partnership is easier. So I hope I've been able to use these examples to answer these questions, because the question needs a little bit of more context.
Yeah, I think the person that asked the question already says thank you for the good response.
Oh, good.
Thank you very much, sir. I really hope that we all are, noting down things, jotting down things from this webinar. Okay. Welcome to everyone that has also introduced themselves on the chat box. I also have a question to ask, but because of our time, I would not be asking. But if you have any question, you can drop it in the chat box, and if you have time at the end of the,
you can ask your question. You can ask your questions to the others.
Okay, because of the agenda, the time, we're already in time for the panel discussion. So I really don't want to go into that time. Okay, well, let me just ask my question. I'm coming, please.
Led to the situation of indiscriminate waste dumping, that have led to the issue of waste farming, that have led to the issue of waste burying, and
So, Mr. Joshua, so are you with us? Are you still with us?
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay. I just wanted to ask, what are some potential collaborations or partnerships between government or the private sector or the civil society that that you know about that can enhance the capacity of young people to drive sustainable development?
That's a very difficult question to answer. What I would say is that there are always ways for you to explore collaborations in areas of jobs. For instance, there are ways whereby you can reach out to the private sector to create jobs for young people. So there are opportunities there. There's a green economy. Young people that need to learn how to use waste to create jobs. It also speaks to the aspect of making sure that the environment it's okay. So there are private organizations that will be willing to work on that. In the area of education, a lot of children are still out of school in Nigeria. What can you do? How can you work with the government to solve that issue? The current fuel scarcity, current increase in the price of petrol is a way to also have conversation with government because of how this is affecting young people. What special provisions can the Nigerian government create for young people who are into entrepreneurship? Those of them that are in school, is it possible for the government to create a program that will make buses available to pick up people at a knockoff price? So a lot in policies that refers to youth. There are policy gaps that you can identify to ask yourself, where is the pain point? How can we work together as young people and the SDGs in this area? And in the issues of climate action, SDGs 13, there are opportunities for you to work with government. There's opportunities to work with the private sector, and that's why you need to do your own research. It's not something that I can just give you here now and say, oh, this is what you need to do. These are potential. There are even things that I may not even think about around your community that are potential areas for collaboration. Well, the most important thing is that you need to do your own research to be able to find out. It is in so doing that you'll be able to identify and say, there's a collaboration opportunity here. I just went to the local government and I saw the way that there were a lot of grasses, there were wastes, improper disposal of waste. There's a collaboration opportunity here. I went to a school and I saw the way the teachers were teaching, which is not so nice. There's a collaboration opportunity here. What if I can bring in a teacher from a private school to take the teachers in this public school on how to communicate effectively with their students? What if I can bring in students from a private school to come to a public school to see how it is run and look out for potential area of synergy between the private school and the secondary school and the private school and the public school? There are always areas of collaboration. It's just left on what is your passion and how do you want to drive it.
Wow. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. That boils down to we still going back to make our research. All right, sir. Thank you very much for that, sir. Okay, so right about now we want to go into the panelist section, the panel section. I mean, if you still have questions, you can drop them in the chat box, and by the end of the meeting, we would attend to them. But before we go into the panel session, I want to invite Mr. Emmanuel to say what he has for us. Mr. Emmanuel, please, you can speak.
No, we can continue. We'll say it after the panelist session. Let's continue.
All right, sir. Okay, so we are privileged to have some experts in sustainable development. We are privileged to have great speakers in our midst that are ready to share their expertise on SDGs with us. Okay, so without further ado, I would like to invite our panelists. Come in, please. Okay, so we have the presence of 3 panelists. We have the first person, Mr. Sunday Akinrele. Mr. Sunday Akinrele is a transformational public speaker, published author, and leadership coach with a strong background in education, with 10+ years of progressive experience in the teaching profession. Mr. Sunday is a highly optimistic, enthusiastic, and goal-oriented educator. He uses a student-centered teaching approach and exhibits a positive vibe towards effective pedagogy. Mr. Sunday is skilled at facilitating seminars and trainings in conferences as a master trainer and has a refined ability to mentor youth and teenagers. He's the founder of the Sunday Akinrele Leadership and Mentorship Initiative Leadership School, an online leadership program that nurtures young leaders for global relevance and impact. Mr. Sunday is committed to developing and empowering communities, youth, and teenagers, and has trained over 50 young leaders from 6+ African countries in less than 1 year through the platform. Mr. Sunday is currently a fellow of the Carrington Youth Fellowship Initiative, an exchange program of the United States Consulate General. Mr. Sunday is an advocate of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, especially Goals 3 and 4. Okay, we also have the presence of Mr. Wesley O. Ajiboye. Mr. Wesley O. Ajiboye is a multi-talented individual who excels as a writer, public speaker, brand strategist, and global goals advocate. He has served in various organizations focusing on the sustainable development goals and honing his skills in education, politics, and social impact initiatives. With strong project coordination, branding, and leadership skills, Mr. Wesley is a staunch advocate for SDGs, particularly Goal 13, which is the climate action, and Goal 5, gender equality. He has spearheaded notable projects such as translating COVID-19 protocols, addressing rape culture, ending police brutality, promoting peace, raising awareness about female genital mutilation, and engaging youth in service for the SDGs. That Wesley aims to create a sustainable world, believing in the possibility of positive change through conscious efforts and determination. Okay, and our third panelist for today is Mr. Ezekiel. Ezekiel is an SDG 3 enthusiast studying medicine and surgery at the prestigious Federal University of Technology, Accra, currently in his preclinicals. He doubles as the Deputy Disaster Relief Officer of the Futa Red Cross Detachment. His ever-burning passion to advance the SDGs drove him to become a SDGs at Futa advocate. He's currently a campus ambassador of Technomobile and Trust Sprouts University program. He has a congenial, easygoing personality, which makes him a great team player wherever he finds himself. The values he holds dearly include volunteerism, multitasking, deal for public service, selflessness, project and team management, strategic organization, critical thinking, interpersonal relationships, and community and communication skills. Okay, with great joy in our hearts, we welcome these three wonderful speakers in our midst. We are so privileged to have you in our midst today, and we are very sure that this is going to be a very enlightening section. So I would encourage us to all have jotters and writing materials to jot down things. Okay, Mr. Emmanuel, you can speak.
Okay, I just want to tell Mr. Joshua that thank you for coming around, sir. You're permitted to go, but if you want to stay with us, you can still stay. Thank you so much. It's nice having you talk. Yeah, thank you.
All right, sir. Okay. So we're going to the questions that we have for the panelists. I believe the panelists are here. Please, you can just say hi to all of us. Mr. Ezekiel, Mr. Wesley, Mr. Sunday, please just want to hear your voice. Can you just say hi to us?
Hi, everyone.
Thank you so much,
Hi,
Mr.
everyone.
Ezekiel. Thank you so much,
everyone.
sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Okay, I'll be starting with Mr. Sunday. I'll be asking your point of view. Okay, so I'm reading through your profile. is evident that you have been breaking ground towards achieving the SDGs, especially SDG 3 and 4. Okay, so we want to know, sir, what are some challenges you face and recommendations in achieving the SDGs you are currently working on?
All right, thank you very much. I count it a privilege to be here. First and foremost, let me say that I am working currently on SDG 3 and SDG 4. SDG 3, which is good health and well-being, and SDG 4, which is quality education. I actually have my first degree in clinical biochemistry, and that is why I'm into SDG 3, and I later obtained a professional diploma in education and become a registered teacher with TRCN, that's Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria, and that claims my passion for SDG 4, which I have about 11 years of progressive experience in. Now, for the challenges in the education sector, let me focus my attention on the education sector. Number one is lack of proper education or low level of sensitization on the SDGs. Personally, I have noticed that the level at which we sensitize the society or the masses on the United Nations 17 SDGs is actually low. And that is why it's one of the challenges that we are having presently. And number two is actually because people have this negative attitude towards positive change. All right. Now, when you tell people that this is the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, this is what we want to achieve in the year 2030, what you hear people say is that, is this actually possible in this part of the country? Is this possible, especially in Nigeria, where we find ourselves? They believe that this thing is meant for the white people, people in United States of America. They don't really believe that it can be achieved in Nigeria. So many have this fixed mindset that driving a change through SDGs is impossible. So it's actually posing a very huge challenge on us as advocates. Thank you so much.
Wow, thank you very much, sir, for that response. Very quickly, so we'll move on to Mr. Wesley. Mr. Wesley, reading through your profile, we see that you are a staunch advocate for the SG 13 and 5. All right, okay, I'll pass it together. Okay, sir, Mr. Wesley, we also want to ask the same question. What challenges and recommendations do you have in achieving this SG 13, that's climate action and gender equality, the SG 5?
Thank you very much for having me. I would say hi everyone once again. Okay, the SDGs in Nigeria presently has a very big challenge, and it's a challenge of education. It's a challenge of people not knowing what the SDGs means. Some years ago, my organization, SDGs Act, conducted a survey, and we found out that about 90% of students in Nigerian tertiary institutions do not even have a glimpse of what the SDGs are. So at that particular time, we decided we were going to focus mainly on creating awareness and furnishing people with the requisite knowledge they need to be able to chart a course with the SDGs. Because if you are not doing SDGs, you are not doing anything, basically. So we wanted to bring students to the knowledge of the global agenda and the global goals. For me, like you said, I'm a staunch advocate of climate action because I find myself in an industry that is the second largest producer of carbon in the world, and it contributes more carbon to the global carbon budget than maritime and international travels combined, which is the fashion industry. So it pushed me to, and so many people are not looking in that particular direction. So it pushed me to say, okay, no, we need to stem the tide of the contribution of the fashion industry to the carbon budget of the world. Then gender equality is one which I'm also very passionate about, because I feel strongly that no woman should be denied an opportunity on the basis of her gender, or should be paid less because she's female. And one of the ways we've been able to do that in my university is to break a 40-year-old jinx in my university by working as an organization to produce the first female faculty president in the whole of our university. It had not happened in 40 years. It had not happened in 40 years, but we were able to break that jinx. And today we can boldly say that SDGs Act produced the first female faculty president in the history of the Federal University of Technology, Akure. This and so many other things we were able to do because we decided to start teaching the SDGs, and people started to buy into the vision of the SDGs. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sarah. That was really, really inspiring. Please, if you have any questions for the panelists, please, you can start preparing it and dropping them in the chat box. Okay, very quickly, we also want to ask Mr. Ezekiel, a SDG 3 enthusiast, and I think that's good health and well-being. So, Mr. Ezekiel, we also want to ask you, what challenges do you come across, and what are the recommendations that you can give us in achieving good health and well-being, in achieving that SDG 3?
Okay, thanks for the opportunity to speak, sir. Okay, as I said earlier, I am SDG 3 enthusiast, and I'm a medical student, and also I am a member of the Red Cross. The Deputy Disaster Relief Officer of the Futa Red Cross Detachment. So I feel one of the big problem that we have. Sorry, please, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yes, I can hear you.
I think one of the big problem, and that is of course the elephant in the room that people are not ready to address. I mean, both the government and the masses are not ready to address this ignorance on the part of the masses. That is because the thing is, a lot of people are actually ignorant. I mean, they are very ignorant as regards their health. They don't go for medical checkup. They don't care about what they eat. I mean, they eat for the sake of eating. They don't eat. They don't care if it's nourishing or anything. They are very, very ignorant or as regards what they introduce to their immune system. So I feel, and also the country that is Nigeria, the government is not actually creating the enabling environment for the advancing of SDG 3. That is good health and well-being. In that there is no proper funding of the healthcare sector. Like, I don't think the healthcare sector get as much as what the defense sector gets. As when I checked, the last time I checked, the defense sector gets the bulk of the budget. So SDG 3, I mean, the healthcare sector don't really get much. So I think the government is not funding the healthcare sector well enough. They need to invest more in the healthcare sector. So thanks for the opportunity to speak. That's all I have to say. Thanks.
All right, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for that inspiring perspective. Please, an attendance link has been sent to the chat box. Please, let's follow the link to drop our attendance. Please, this is very important for this webinar. Please, there's an attendance link in the chat box. Please, let's follow the link to to register our attendance for this webinar. All right, thank you very much, sir, Mr. Ezekiel, for that. Back to you, Mr. Wesley. We would like you to talk generally about the SDGs Like, I mean, this webinar is about empowering the youth to drive us for sustainable development. So we want you to like tell us what really the SDG is all about. For some people might be here that don't really know what the SDGs are about. So Mr. Wesley, we don't know. We'd like to ask you if you can shed more light, tell us more about the SDGs and how the role of the youth in SDGs.
Thank you very much once again. Okay, I would say the SDGs is the future. The SDGs is where everybody wants to be. The SDGs is that dream of a better life, that dream of a better future. That dream we are working towards is actually the SDGs. Because in the SDGs, we want no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, and the likes. So many of the dreams that we have or we had as young persons and we still have as young persons and where we want to be. But it is imperative that we do not just dream. It is imperative that we start to act in line with the dream that we have. I would say an Arabian proverb. An Arabian proverb goes thus: my father rode a camel. I ride a car. My son drives a Rolls Royce. I'm not so sure about how it goes, but I'm paraphrasing. My son drives a Rolls Royce. My grandson drives or flies a private jet. But my great grandson rides on a camel again. And for some people, they will think it is the love for vintage, or the money is too much and this guy just feels like I want to go back to the past. But actually, in the right sense, what the older generation did to that great grandson was this: they took away his ability for him to meet his future needs, to meet their own needs. So this is it. They drove the Rolls Royce, they flew the private jets, and they did so much, enjoyed life so much, that they forgot that there was another generation coming. And now the other generation had to go back and start from the scratch again. And definitely the scratch is not the same scratch that my father started from. So this is it. Sustainable development is the ability to meet our own needs without taking away the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. So sustainable development is thinking with the future in mind whilst meeting your own needs today. For a country like Nigeria that has a youthful population with a very large based pyramid of the demography of Nigeria, which means we have so many youths in the country, close to 50% or definitely over 50% of Nigerians are youth. It is important that we start to think in the direction of the SDGs, and I'm very happy that we have so many people in this place, on this space today, who are thinking in line with the SDGs. It is important that we start to think in line with the SDGs, and we start crafting our business solutions, our policy, and we start to elect good political leaders, because you cannot divorce politics and policy. Politics and policy are two inseparable twins that always go hand in hand. So if you want to get a good policy, you must have good political leaders. So it is important that youth start to seek for knowledge and information, act on those information. Remember, I've been saying act. It is not just to seek the knowledge. It is important that we start acting. So seek the knowledge, start to act on the knowledge, and ensure like Mr. Joshua said, start asking questions. That's one of the ways to hold political leaders responsible. Because at the end of the day, if we are trying our little bit in our little corners and our little communities are trying to make Nigeria the Nigeria of our dreams, and there is someone who is legislating against the Nigeria of our dreams, it will take longer for us to actualize what we want to actualize. The SDGs can be actualized in Nigeria, but there must be a union of the civil society organizations, that is, we in the social space, the political architecture of the country, and an agreement or a social agreement with the citizens of the country to ensure that we will achieve the SDGs in Nigeria. So every youth, what is his name? Like Mr. Sunday said, he was talking about education. Education is very important. I, for one, think that the SDGs should be incorporated into our curriculum, and children can start to learn about the Sustainable Development Goals or sustainable development from a very young age, so that it is ingrained in them right from a very young age, and they can start to think in line with the SDGs, work in line with the SDGs, and ensure that we do not take away the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. The youth are very important in this, they're very important ingredients in this recipe. So it is important that we teach the youth the SDGs, we craft our solutions in line with the SDGs, and I'm very sure that the Nigeria of our dreams is not far. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much, sir, for that inspiring perspective. Really appreciate. Okay, I would like the panelists and the attendees, participants, to be aware that this session is going to come to an end by 11:55. Okay, so please, if you have questions, you can do well to write it in the comment section. Okay, so please, I want to go back to Mr. Sunday. Mr. Sunday, would want to know or want to ask you, looking at the fact that the SDGs are to be achieved by 2030, we would want to know, do you think Nigeria is helping the youth or working positively towards achieving the SDGs before 2030?
Well, thank you for that question. I can't really say that Nigeria is helping matters here, but I still want to say that in one way or the other, we the youths, or let me say youth advocates, including myself, are trying our possible best to achieve the 17 SDGs before the year 2030. However, we need to add more energy. I will always say that it can always get better. You know, we've tried our best, even up to this time, and it behoves on us as young advocates to push this the more. Don't forget, we started with the Millennium Development Goals before the United Nations launched the Sustainable Development Goals. So it's a process. It's not something that can be achieved in a day. And I am very optimistic that we can achieve it by 2030 if all hands can be on deck and we collaborate together, like the first speaker said. Once we collaborate, we leverage partnership, then I believe that it is achievable. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay, I have a question. Sorry, did you get my question?
I'm sorry, please, can you come again? I don't know. I think the network went off or something like that. Please, can you come again?
Okay. I said would like to hear from you about specific skills or knowledge gaps that you think is needed to be addressed to better equip young people in Nigeria to contribute effectively to sustainable development.
Okay. I don't think there is really much specific skills towards that, because I believe it's as simple as ABC. It's not very hard to grasp what SDGs are and about implementing them. Though, of course, we actually have, compared to other countries, we have a low literacy rate. I mean, in terms of that, but I still feel we can still, I mean, despite our literacy rates, we can still grasp. It does not really require any special skill. It does not really require having a special knowledge. It's not rocket science, in my own opinion. It does not really require any special skill. As much as we can all make the world a better place if we can just, I mean, as a man, as a guy, you just give a woman, okay, let's talk about SDG 5. You don't need rocket science, you don't need quantum physics to tell you that a woman is your equal in everything, both in responsibilities and rights. Same with climate action. We all know that the world is, I mean, getting hotter, global warming and everything. You don't need to be told, or you don't need to go and, I mean, to take a course to know that if you don't stop this, I mean, if you don't stop our, I would say, I mean, the way we are polluting and degrading the environment, that, I'm sorry, can anybody hear me, please?
Yes, sir, we can hear you,
Okay,
sir. Please go on.
we don't need I mean, to be told. We don't need to take a course to be told that with this, at this rate, we might die off as a civilization. I mean, we might wipe ourselves out of this world. I mean, with the recent happenings in the world, the way countries are carrying out sanctions on each other. I mean, the First World War, the Second World War. We know that if we continue at this rate, we are just going to, I mean, we're going to become a story of the past. We are going to become extinct. So in my own opinion, I believe it's as simple as ABC. You don't really need a special knowledge. So I mean, there's no special hack to it. That's my own opinion. Thanks for the question, sir.
Thank you very much for that
Sir.
insight. Really appreciate. Okay. I think I have a question for Mr. Wesley. Mr. Wesley, in 1 minute, can you please tell us some successful examples or initiatives where young people in Nigeria have been actively involved in driving sustainable development, and what lessons can be learned from these experiences?
Okay, thank you so much. Firstly, we'll start from where we are now. We are in a webinar that is organized by Sustainable Development Solutions Network. Am I correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. So that is one, or this is one of the successful platforms that has come up through youth innovation towards the SDGs. We also have we have quite a number of organizations: SDGs Act, Help Mom, Future Shakers Initiative, Value Female Network, quite a number of them, so many of them. They are countless that are successfully advocating for the SDGs and are making waves throughout the country. But one thing I would like to say, and I would like to point out with this, is the fact that we have so many organizations, and I think the reason why Goal 17 is partnership for the goals was added to the SDGs is for it to be a working tool for every person to use. So we could achieve much more impact if there are more collaborations amongst existing organizations towards the SDGs. So I would like to say this, that now is not a time for competition. Now is not a time to say, we are doing better than this person in this. Now it's time for collaboration. If you are, I am a member of say, if you can achieve this much alone, how much more can we achieve together? So if we can achieve this much as our different organizations in our different silos, How much more can we achieve together if we come together and we work towards actualization of whichever goal we're advocating for in the SDGs? I believe that we would have a quantum leap towards where we want to be as a country and in the global scheme of things. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for that. Uh, I think it's past 11:55. Even though there are a lot of questions that I would still like to ask our panelists, and I cannot find any questions coming from the attendees. I believe we are asking questions that they want to ask, and thank God we are receiving very, very accurate response from the panelists. Okay, I just would like to ask one final question to Mr. Sunday as we round up this section. Mr. Sunday, we want to know how true is it that funding is a major challenge towards achieving the SDGs? I mean, apart from organizing webinars like this and educating people about the SDGs, can the SDGs be achieved without sourcing funds?
All right, thank you for that question. Let me say that I quite agree, quite disagree that funding is a major challenge. I'm emphasizing on the word major. You know, when there is a willing mind, I strongly believe that we can, go the extra mile in ensuring that anything we want to achieve is achieved. So I disagree that funding is a major challenge towards achieving the SDGs. Of course, funding is one of the challenges, but it's never a major challenge. Sincerely, we cannot underestimate what finance can do, but it should be considered as the least thing when planning to achieve the SDGs. Personally, anytime I'm planning to implement a particular project, I ensure that funding or finance is given the least priority. Not because it's not important, but I personally believe that with a willing mind, we can achieve anything. If we are ready to work with this vision, money will definitely come in from partners. You know, one thing about partners is that they want to see what you are doing first. They want to see the steps you have been taking. They don't just want to invest in something that will not yield positive result. So you should start by doing something. Take action. When you take action, I strongly believe that funding will come in. Thank you so much.
Oh, wow. Thank you very much, sir, for that. I believe the participants are, aggressively jotting down things and noting down these insightful points from our panelists.
Sorry, can I put in something?
Yes, you can, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. As regards funding, I believe that with partnerships and collaborations, we can achieve more together. So if we are trying to work on, let's say, female genital mutilation, for example, I think with the last statistics I have, I think Osun State ranks highest in that. I'm not so sure, but with the last data I have, Osun State ranks highest. And we have two organizations in Osun State who are working on female genital mutilation. With let's say they have 100,000 naira each. If these two organizations decide that they want to go to, let's say, Ife and Ilesha, for example, the money is going to be split. 100,000 most likely will not do so much in advocacy because you have to do transportation, logistics, and so many things. 100,000 might not do so much, and they might get halfway through the project and they eventually have little or no impact in those communities. But if there's a partnership or a collaboration between these two organizations, they have 200,000 naira to work with, and they would be able to push the project to a very, very logical extent, and will be able to impact, if not the two communities, but a community, and the impact will be felt in that community. So partnerships are a very important part of getting the job done in the SDGs. So when you are thinking of funding and it looks like funding is not coming that fast, partnership with organizations are one of the fastest ways to get fundings and get your work done. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for that. I believe we have really gotten a lot from this webinar. We want to bring this webinar to an end. I would like to say thank you to our distinguished speaker, President of Mr. Joshua Alade. It's so great for you to stay to the end of this webinar. We are so grateful, sir. Our esteemed panelists, the attendees, on behalf of the Ondo State Sustainable Development Advocacy Campaign, I extend my heartfelt gratitude for your active participation in this webinar, empowering the youth to be drivers of the sustainable development. Your presence and engagement is a testament of your commitment to making a positive impact on our environment and society. Our deepest appreciation goes to our speaker and panelists. Thank you so much, sirs, for your indelible impact on us and your insightful perspective that have really provided invaluable guidance and inspiration to all the attendees. I'm so sure that the attendees can all testify to that. We also like to extend our gratitude to the attendees who have set out time to participate in this webinar. Thank you for your comments and enthusiasm for the sustainable development, which have added depth and richness to this webinar. Definitely can't wait to have you guys around in the second series, which promises to be super packed with more insightful perspectives on sustainable development. Lastly, our appreciation goes to the organizers of this webinar, Sustainable Development Solutions Network Nigeria, for the privilege they have given us to organize such a webinar. Appreciation to the Ondo State team lead, President of Emmanuel Adamolekun. Thank you so much, sir. And our capable assistant, Lemboye Oluwafumilayo. Your generous and collaborative spirit have made it possible for us to organize and deliver this event. We encourage each and every one of us to take the knowledge and inspiration we have gained and transform it into actions. Once again, thank you all and God bless you all. I think we should just use the next 1 minute to invite Mr. Emmanuel if he has any announcements for us as we bring this webinar to an end.
Okay, thank you so much, moderator. We should also thank you for taking us through a smooth flow. Yeah, we want to say this conversation still continues next week, Saturday, June 17, 10 a.m., 10:30 to 12 noon. We want you to come. We have two powerful speakers that are speaking to us on SDG Go 3 and SDG Go 4. I want to say thank you so much. We have some, we have a lot of organizations who are represented here. We have yearly Ondo State Hub here. We also have the Nigeria Youth SDG Network Ondo State chapter here, represented by Mr. Alfred. So I want to say thank you so much. I want to thank Dr. Rasak for joining. We want to thank everyone. And we have the WhatsApp group. It's a networking group. Let us do well to network. We could bring up discussions around the SDG. Maybe we would seek the permission of our speaker and our panelists to join the WhatsApp group so that when there are questions around the SDG, I could see that Zen has asked questions about the SDG, so we could ask and we could do, we could deliberate, discuss around the SDGs, and you could also tell us about things you are doing on the SDG you're advocating for. So next week we'll also be talking about the SDG Advocate program, which is a 3-month program that every one of us, some of us here are partaking in. So we will tell you more about it next week and how you could join. A cohort will be coming up very soon. So feel free to reach out to us on the page. Thank you once again and God bless. Please do well to fill in the attendance sheet. Thank you so much. See you next week. Please, let's do well to mobilize our friends. Tell your friends about, because next week I don't want you to miss it. Next week will be much, like you say, greater than what had happened today. So do well to tell your friends, do well to share the registration link, do well. I will share the recordings of today's meeting with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. We can all peacefully leave the meeting now. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Mr. Wesley, thank you so much. Mr. Ezekiel, thank you so much. Mr. Sunday,
Thank you so much for having me.
yeah, thank you. Boots, thank you. Bruno, thank you so much. You'll be so active on the page. Kate, thank you. Thank you for joining. Steven, thank you. Dr. Steven, is this Dr. Steven from Yuan? Thank you so much. Thank you for joining. Thank you. Eminent, thank you. Okiki Jesu, thank you so much. Roots, thank you for joining. Shewa, thank you for joining. Zenas, thank you for joining. Let's do what to invite our friends next week. Victoria, thank you for joining. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So we like to have more people join next week. Please do well to fill the attendance sheets before you go. Tell your friends after the webinar.